This morning's debatable session was all around ambition and quality and who measures excellence and who has the responsibility for judging what ambition and quality is. And we talked a lot about Let's Create and the 10-year strategy, and that being about everyone having the opportunity to create. And what came out of that session in our session was all around the funding language and jargon, if you like, and us producers and directors who understand that, and it's been drilled into us, for the last 10, 20 years, we are used to that language, and so therefore we know, other people know how to talk to that language and how to access those funds. But those who we are genuinely trying to reach with the Let's Create strategy, people who don't even feel like what they're doing is creative, when in actual fact it is, and it is culture, just because they're from a different culture or background, those are the people that we want to be reaching. And in that session, we collectively agreed that some of the language around how we talk about the investment principles and the outcomes are a bit opaque in a way. And so it felt like there was a lot of work that needed to be done to kind of break down those barriers and access and reach the communities that genuinely we want to be reaching with Let's Create.
Should ambition also contain environmental goals? Should that be part of an ambition? Should quality include that, so that actually that environmental responsibility thing is embedded across everything that we do, so that actually they're not really separate questions? Obviously there's the creative quality and the audience or participant experience and the quality of that, and the ambition, but ambition also, maybe that's not about growth. Maybe actually in the same way as we've got to look at not having a never-ending growing economy or that's damaging to an environmental space, maybe we look at that also in terms of the work that we're creating. A bit like one of the women said in the last session we were in about maybe doing less, rest as resistance.
Amara said, how do we build liberation? And that's exactly what stuck in my mind, and I've been trying to figure out when I'm writing my own mission statement for my initiative I want to create, is how do I build liberation into that manifesto, and it's like the bedrock of everything, and listen to that compassionate side of me, but yeah, again, manage that in a way that's dynamic and thinks about dynamism, but is also thinking about the human element and how we all take care of ourselves, and we don't live in this burnout, glamorized culture of overworking as well. So it's finding that balance.
There was a big question around holding shame and what's unjust and what's just, and I think it's just transparency and just recognizing that it's really hard for us to try and do the optimal that we want with the amount of capacity that we have.
Who knows what the next generation, of cultural leaders are going to be like, but I have a suspicion they're going to be very resilient because, the generation who actually managed to sort of navigate their way through, the young people over the last few years, rather than being a generation who actually have an asterisk against them in terms of, they weren't properly tested or measured. They are probably the most resilient, most resourceful, the most tenacious, and probably the best prepared to take us into the future. And we can't be talking about the future without thinking about young people up front and foremost, and local authorities have a responsibility to do things better, to do the best we can.